Alright, what is up everybody? Welcome back to National Done FRI. So today is a very special day. Not really. So it's the winter time. Not a lot of people are riding today. But you know us, we ride all year long. So gotta get that practice in. So today took a little bit of a how would you say? A little bit of an unfortunate event. So yeah, as you know, I got two F4Is. I ride the white one, Vegeta. Beerus is on the other side, waiting for a tank, a battery, and a radiator, and bleeding out the brakes, and it's good to go. Well, today took a little bit of an unfortunate event, so now we gotta tear down Vegeta. I was already planning to tear this bike down to figure out what the hell is wrong with it, with the suspension and everything else, bearings, bearings, seals, all that good stuff. Well, went to the lot today, went stupid hard, getting back to learning new stuff, getting more comfortable with certain things that I haven't gotten comfortable with, and tackling down, fears. Turns out today, I didn't bring my camera, so I didn't catch none of this footage on camera, sadly, but it was fucking epic. Yeah, so I'm gonna show you in a second the damage of what happens when you drop back too hard, scrape, and not used to a scrape, and totally go H games on your bike. Damn.
F4I. So the 16 thing to be totaled. Was this already hit or?
Got that bitch clean off. Well. So if you look at here, mate, you snagged a bit hard, broke the fucking triple tree, bent the wheel, bent the cage that I just replaced that was broken and I bent and snapped in half, bent this one, wheels all bent up. Going from the back, the wheel is like, I don't know if the wheel's straight, but it's like twisted sideways. So the wheel is coming off. I don't know if it had to do with the swing arm itself. I don't know. But I don't know if you can pretty much tell. But from an angle or from standing straight back from the bike and everything, it's all twisted up. So exactly what happened, right? So for the longest time, I've been working on sit downs. I've never really gotten comfortable with dropping back. I've been fighting to drop back on sit downs for honestly for a year now, year and a half. I've been trying to get sit down to, actually not a year and a half, just a year. I've been trying to get a sit down to balance points, and I've been constantly riding them and chasing them at 11 o'clock and never been able to like drop it back or get comfortable with the drop backs and the spring compressing and just floating. So today was basically learning to drag out my scrape longer, as you've seen in my short reels and videos on my Instagram if you follow me. Practicing dragging out scrapes, that was fine. Started getting comfortable with that. One thing I did notice when I did break the subframe, the first subframe, and dropping the bike from trying to like stand the bike on a 12 bar and walk the bike and everything, the back end started feeling weird. I didn't know if it was suspension. I didn't know if it was the chain. I didn't know if it was the, just the bike in general from bearing being bad or what the problem was. I couldn't figure it out. Adjusted the shock height adjusted the shock slopness on the saggy ass. I don't have a saggy ass fix, but I adjust the slopness of the stock ride height back to where it was from OEM. It helped a little bit. The bike still kept feeling a little bit heavy when I'm clutching up. Felt heavy, etc., etc. Still couldn't figure it out. Now that I have back pressure on both the bikes, I didn't tune the bike. So I was running on a tune or sync throttles on basically a shortened muffler with less back pressure, and it's almost straight piped. When I blew out the packing out of the grades exhaust, the bike kind of went out of sync, and just now that I have a longer canister, new grades exhaust with a longer canister and everything, and more back pressure, the whole bike and tune of the throttle body is way out of sync. It idles rough. It won't hold a certain idle anymore. Now, if I set it to 2.5 grams like I normally ride, it'll drop back down to 2 grams after a while. I don't know why. It just does that. Now, this is gonna be where the cool stuff comes into play. Just how you saw in how I was building the first FRI three years ago that I've had this bike. When I was building various powder coating and everything, we were doing the exact same thing on this bike. Powder coat, all new bearings, seals, all new shit to the motor. As far as, you know, eventually I am going to be replacing both the head gaskets on the bike and doing valve adjustments. I'm talking with a lot of people on how to be a pinnacle to the FRI community, because there is a lot of things that is lacked on these bikes. That these bikes are fucking great. I wouldn't trade them for anything else, you know. If people swear by Kawasaki, that's your thing. Peaches and apples, or whatever the saying goes. Peaches to grapes, or apple to oranges, or something like that. I don't know how the saying goes, but to each their own, you know. Honda's my thing, everybody else, Kawasaki, whatever. I only like Hondas because these are fucking tanks of a bike, and they last a really long time until you abuse the shit out of them, and then you slip a bearing. Moving forward, eventually want to be a pinnacle to the FRI community and the Honda community, specifically for these bikes. First being, nobody rebuilds shocks, so I'm gonna learn how to rebuild shocks, and then once I figure it out and I can do it and start rebuilding shocks, if anybody needs a shock rebuild, I'll rebuild them. Second being, the motors on these, right? They tend to overheat. Nobody does a lot of motor maintenance on these. Valve adjustments and valve clearance, you know, you can take that to your regular dealership or motorcycle shop and they'll charge you $400 or $600 depending on who you go to. Next and not least is the subframes on these bikes. So stock subframes are aluminum, which a lot of times aluminum has weak points on the welds. With these bikes, the weld spots on the frames, which would be right here. As you saw, when you have a steel frame, it's a lot of weight on these aluminum, and a lot of times when you put a 12 bar, it adds another 5-10 pounds. So you have 10 pounds, maybe 15 with the adjustable sub cage, and then you have another added 10 pounds, and then you got a 5 pound, you know, titanium, maybe 2 to 5 pounds of titanium at the back. So altogether, you're dropping back almost 30 pounds on an aluminum frame. Over time, if you're riding hard like I am and whatnot, what's gonna happen, and I've never seen happen until I've actually done it, is the frame breaks off right before the welds, like literally right where the frame mounts at, and it breaks and snaps in half. In other cases, you get this right here, the frame kinked up right there. You can see that the frame is kinked up, it's not straight no more. It's all bent up where the sub cage would mount at. That happens as well. That causes for this whole frame to snap in half. So what I'm intended in doing is taking all these stock subframes for these bikes, sending them off to a homie, having them cut at the mounting points, reinforce steel with it, and then all the aluminum bracket points, weld points where the weak spots are, reinforce them with aluminum steel plates to stiffen it or make it stronger, more reinforced so it doesn't bend as easily, and so that it doesn't snap. So giving it more of a twist and more of a stock feel, giving it a stock look, but more of a twist to it, if that makes sense. A lot of people go with steel frames. Yes, you can go with steel frames. There are some downsides to it as well. Same thing with a steel frame. You know, a lot of times I've seen steel frames snap in half at the welds where they cut it in half. You know, so there are some plus and minuses of certain things with steel frames and steel sub cages and X, Y, and Z, and in between. My goal is to utilize as much of the stock shit and make it better and OEM plus, and just revive the whole Honda FRI scene and bikes in general. because these bikes are getting more and more scarce. Parts are getting harder and harder to find. People are gatekeeping. You know, people are hoarding all these parts, you know, until someday they don't need them no more. But yeah, so Project Vegeta tearing this shit apart, getting everything A1 just like the purple bike is going into effect starting kind of today, and Wednesday on my off days when we will actually tear everything down. The tank off of this bike was originally the tank on the purple bike, but it came on this bike when the purple bike blew the motor. This tank will go back onto that one, and then the other tank that comes from Arizona will go out the powder coat. It will be black just like this on a white frame with blue sparkles, etc, etc, etc. This bike is going to be just as clean as the purple one. No more, you know, clapped out FRIs or clapped out Kawasaki, whatever. We don't do clap shit no more. Yeah, I run naked fairing, but at least the bike's still cool. You know, everything got to get right. Everything got to be A1. So the frame on this one should go off the powder coat along with these ones, but we'll see if we can squeeze that in. Right now I just have pricing for this bike in general for the frames and everything. So I'm gonna make a parts list. I'm probably gonna go on Partzilla, make a whole entire parts list for the things to order before end of next month and get everything squared away. So the shitty part right now is tearing everything apart that's broken, starting with the radiator. The cage got to come off, subframe got to come off, rear wheel got to come off, front wheel got to come off, triple tree somehow got to get that off. Tank gonna go and get swapped over to the other bike. Yeah, but yeah, this is literally what happened within the last 2 to 3 hours. Also, shout out to Rob Stunt for this fat ass fucking titanium that burns really well. I've been scraping and dragging scrapes on this, and I haven't even burnt through this titanium yet. As for opposed to, I have Scrape City on this one. Dragging scrapes on this one is cool, but as soon as I drag out scrapes too many times, I'm already like halfway done with the titanium. And this one is a fresh new plate, and I scraped out, and I'm just about halfway, but still got hella titanium left over, so yeah. Alright, so while we're here, I guess we're just gonna start tearing down as much as we can. First thing first would be swapping over the tank and everything like that to this bike. Matter of fact, we might just get this bike started up, to be honest. Once I figure out where these plugs and harnesses go and shit like that. The only thing I don't have is a map sensor, and I don't have a radiator, but we can still start it up and see how it sounds, so forth and being. Other than that, yeah. That one got a bad ignition switch, so I'm just gonna have to finagle with that one. I do have another ignition switch, but I don't have the keys for it. I lost the keys, supposedly. Actually, no, the key is in my fucking suitcase for that other ignition switch. Anyways, enough talking. Let's get to start tearing this down. Alright y'all, so before I end this video here today, pretty much got far done with as much as I can right now. I still gotta take the cage off, take the subframe off, take the front wheel off, the radiator, but I don't have nothing to drain the radiator fluid into, so that's gonna stay on for now. Got the tank swapped over, everything plugged up, gotta bolt everything down, but so can't run this one too long because I don't have a radiator for it that, you know, good. The other one on that bike is bent to shit and separated at the front. Still holds coolant and everything like that. It's not leaking out, but it is damaged, so I'm not gonna swap radiator over. Evidently I can, but it's not convenient because it's still gonna eventually cause heat pockets. So we're just gonna throw that radiator away just because the fan bracket mounts are also broken, so it'll leave that off. I'm gonna tighten everything down on this one, put the seat on, everything like that, bolt it down. The only thing that I really would have to do would be to either get fairings on this or just run it how it is. More than likely just gonna take off this headlight bracket and go back to putting the cluster on the side like I had on the other bike, but the true intention was to have fairings on both bikes, so we'll see how that goes. It is off season, so technically I don't have no purpose in riding both of the bikes or riding any of the bike, to be honest. I am going to be practicing as much as I can, but since it is the winter season and it's basically end of the year riding season, the only ride that's coming up is ROL. As you can see, I'm not going to be able to make ROL as much as I want to. I could if I get a radiator in stock in time. I'm not going to make LA at all. Like, it's just distance, gas, mileage, and price of hotel for 2 days is inevitable at this moment and just not logical. So I guess right now to just park the bikes up, get everything that I need. The only thing that's left on this bike is getting the handbrake master. This is the Magura. It's for the right side. It can be used for the left side, but the only process is when you're bleeding it, it makes it a little bit difficult, but not too difficult. You know what I mean? If you bleed it properly to where it's supposed to bleed, you can't evidentially put it on the left side and run it at the left handbrake, even though it's for the right side. It's only for the bleeding process that is difficult, that you have to bleed it on the right side. That is going to be for sale. I am trying to get another 16 millimeter Brembo handbrake. I think they work perfectly. I finally figured out what the issue is with it being so damn stiff. A lot of it had to do with brake fluid viscosity. So a lot of times I run RBS 600 or RBS 660 and RBS 600. A lot of times recommendations is running RBS 600 during the winter time, just because it doesn't break down as fast and it's a thinner base oil. In the summertime, you're going to run a little bit thicker oil so that whenever 100 degree weathers or 100 plus degree weathers, it doesn't break down as fast and it's thicker. So I gotta run through. I have Moto 5.1. It is kind of like 660, I guess. I thought it was like a 500 or 510. It does cause my handbrake to be a little bit stiffer than softer feel, but I kind of like to be in between. So yeah, we're probably just gonna go back, buy another RBS 600 bottle, run RBS 600. The 5.1 does work, I could probably use that for foot braking and stuff like that, or in front brakes. For a handbrake, I'll run 600. Other than that, I pretty much got done. I still got to do a little bit more teardown, but I'm running out of time and the camera's about to die. So as much as I would love to keep recording what the build process on these bikes and stuff like that, I just don't have the time or daylight to do it. So I'm gonna call it quits here. We'll pick up Wednesday or maybe even tomorrow night after I'll get off work, but more than likely Wednesday on my day off, we'll pick up the bikes, and this subframe will be going off to Los Banos to get basically rendered, reinforced, and see what we can do and modify and mock up for my own custom frames. And then if people like it, I'll start making more frames and then selling the frames as, on the side until I create a website and get more clientele and stuff like that. That's pretty much it for today's video. I appreciate everybody for watching. Chime in, hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, well, this is what I do. I break shit and then I build them back up. I'll see y'all next time.
Can you lay low for me? Can you lay low? you lay low for me? Can you lay low? I just came to ask you one question, this will you go for me? The baggage in my pocket get higher, can you lay low for me? Can you heat it up and light the stove when it get cold for me? Can you suit it up, get booted up and hit the road with me? Fast pace, fast race, come join the trophy team. She just want a nigga to herself, come be alone with me. The neighbors know my name, the way she sing it like I'm Jodeci.